Check. Am I on the internet? That's not what we wanted to do. How about that one? How about that? Apologies to anyone who was frightened by the sudden appearance of a bearded man on your screen. Good morning. How's it going? All right. So it is ahoy ahoy. So we are what day is it? It's Wednesday. So that means I'm streaming. And we have a cover to do. By we, I mean me, not you. We have a cover for the IGNIS Quadrant. You guys have probably, if you've been around here a little while, you've probably seen me do a few of these. I don't know how many we've done at this point. I have lost count of how many issues of this there is. There's at least 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm excited. But good morning, Kurt. How goes it? It's good. Hey, Prado, how's it going? Very funny this morning. Your yeah, the comedy in the chat. Yeah, come early for comedy. Yeah, come early for comedy in the chat. Duck Bacon, good morning. I love your name. And Jason's here. Everybody's here. Thank you to the members that are here. I see you're paying good money to have extra pixels by your name and and other things. There's other things. Anyway. No, I'm kidding. Good morning. All right. So we have a ninja cyberpunk ninja sci-fi. I don't know what this is, but she looks cool. She's got a big sword, she's got throwing stars. She really has everything that you need as a cool character. You know, we got the hood, we got flowy stuff. All of the food groups are present for something cool. Oh man, yeah. So he actually said, I asked if there's any color reference, and he said the magic words, which is nope, it's up to you. which is my favorite thing to hear. I actually had did I talk about this last week? I can't remember, but I had a cover. You don't think her midsection is protected? Oh no, this is really important from an armor standpoint. You know, see, this is a distraction. See, that's what all the memes are missing, is the guys go, ooh, look at those abs, and then they get their head chopped off. So it's all part of the plan. It's all a part of the plan. Anyway, what was I saying before we started talking about abs? Hold on, I gotta change this. Oh yeah, also body temperature regulation and mobility. Yeah, she does a lot of yoga and stuff, and so she really has to keep things moving. But anyway, no, I know what I was gonna say. I did a cover. Let me go and open it up. I'll show it to y'all. I don't think I've showed it to you yet. Is it any of those? Apparently not. Let's see. Hold on. Because I had a whole point I was going to make here. Let's see. Vault covers. Yeah, this is a Chris Yost book called Unnatural Order. I'm pretty sure it's been announced, so I think I can say that. But this is a cover that I did for it. And I kept everything kind of really muted and gray for the most part, grayish on the characters, because that way the actual colorists on the book can just do whatever they want. I don't want to be, because what happens is the first guy, and I'm going to start coloring here in just a second, I promise. The first guy that colors anything, you end up doing color design for the whole series if you're not careful. Accidentally. Because when they hire the colorist to do the interiors, and that person's going to go, do you have any reference? And they're gonna go, yeah, we had this one cover. And all the random colors you put on there, you know, then you've been an influence you may not have wanted to be. So anyway, time to mute the phone and lock the door. Yes, there's no IT tickets being processed where SCS works for the next couple hours. And thank you to Mr. Christian there for buying my course. Thank you. And Simon, hey, welcome back, Simon. A rare occasion you get to watch live. Hope I'm well. I'm good. Anyway, all right. But where do we want to start? Let's explain the layers for the new kids. There's probably not any, but so all of the inks are on this layer, all right. And I hit this magical button, which converts all the white and brightness to opacity. So I can put that in normal mode and not multiply. Why would I want to do that? Because I like to use clipping masks to color the lines themselves, right? When I want to color the lines. And you can't do that if you have white on your layer in multiply mode. So there you go. And we don't need that yet. So we have inks on a transparent layer. We have a base, which is currently white. We have the flats from my flatter. Lovely. And this is just a couple of plain layers, like foreground and background, basically. And let's see, we don't need that up there. And we really don't need this if we have the other one, because we can invert it. All right. Is everybody following so far? Is everyone taking notes? There'll be a quiz later. How am I? I'm really good today. Can you show me your settings for the magic wand? Can't remember how they were set up. Okay, you have your screen shotting ready, and then I'm going to get started. 11 minutes in. Actually, I started early, didn't I? We're 7 minutes in. All right, get your screenshotting stuff ready to go. There is the lasso. The selection mode is new. Anti-aliasing is off. There's actually some stabilization in here, which I don't want that. Leave it alone. And all right. I should probably have those somewhere. All right. So I'm just going to put a color on this first and slide it around until something grabs me. You know what? What if let's do a full on purple, green, purple, orange, purple, yellow. What do we want to do? Let's do some purple and green. You missed the wand. It buffered all the way through that. You didn't see anything. Okay, sorry. Here we go again. There's your wand, lasso, sorry. There's your wand. All right, hopefully that helps. And I'm going to set the flats as a reference layer with the lighthouse button so that my wand, which is set to refer to that layer, will cooperate with us. The power of Kurt's magic wand, it buffers the whole internet. That's right. Let's see. I don't really know what I'm thinking here yet. I'm just going to start scribbling some colors around, though. And actually, I want to do this on a separate layer. Do I want to start painting, or do I want to do some more separation? You know what? Let's get the values. Let's get the values right. All right, so we're going to We'll do that really bright. And blue and purple and green. Would that look cool? That look cool. And if we have time today, I will try to. I'll try to. If you guys will remind me at the end, and I have time, I will. We'll talk about the cyberpunk 2027 path tracing stuff. I've been threatening this for a couple of days, couple of streams, and I did it for the membership class, the mentor, not the mentor. So what is it called? The YouTube members and patrons and all my paid folks on Discord. We did a little discussion with it during that class this weekend, and I thought it was really cool. Some of y'all, I don't know if anybody here was there. Did everyone see the Marvel Proco partnership for a full course on creating comics the Marvel way? Oh, they're going to make $1 billion off of that. That's nice. Yeah, I do. I like the little blue purple here. And then we'll do some kind of really intense accent color, like pink or something, somewhere in here. Probably those eyes. Maybe something else. Maybe all their little... Yeah, their accent then is pink. We have everything we need, I think, now for a pretty cool looking palette. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, some of these darker colors actually have... That's in the inks. There's a lot of darkness in the inks. So, if we actually want that to read a little brighter, we gotta brighten what's under. And we might have to go up to... Yeah, we'll probably have to get on top of the inks for some of that too. We can do that with overlay layers. Pretty good for that. So right now, my main focus is trying to set up a nice pattern of purple and this tealish blue. It's going to end up with some teal too, probably. It's kind of mixing into a tealy color. But my main focus is to get that pattern set up. And once we have the pattern set up, we're going to break that pattern in some sort of interesting way here. And pretty much everything that I am considering at this point is should this be a part of the pattern, or should this be part of something that is coming forward? And if you kind of, well, at least for me, if you think about it in those terms, then you never have to get stuck trying to figure out what color you should be doing. So right now, all these pipes are they're in the background. There's nothing about these pipes that need to really stand out from themselves. They're just pipes. They look cool. They help tell the story. They help sell this sci-fi location. But from a visual standpoint, they're really just here to be background elements. And so I am choosing colors that are close to the colors in my background. And that doesn't mean that I can't get away from that, by the way. I had someone ask me that the other day. They were like, you always say that, but like, does that mean I can't use any light colors in this dark background? It doesn't mean that at all. Because if I were to, I'm not going to do this right now, but you know, like this thing has really bright things here, and they're all kind of, again, they're arranged around our focal points, and they're all really, you know, but they're creating their own little pattern. You know, no one of these is particularly distracting because there's a couple of them, and so they sort of form a pattern around the focal point. But if I just like randomly introduce a really bright value here, well, that's fine, but I'm going to try to do some things to make that, again, make it repeat, to add some friends around it, to do something so that it's no longer unique. You know, I'm not saying I'm going to do this, but just this thing doesn't stand out as much now because, well, there's a whole line of them behind there. Does that make sense? So, you know, you can do anything you want. It's art. But this is how I do the math on this in my head. That makes sense? It does make sense. Thank you, Prado. Thank you for your validation, sir. And I do tend to sort of think mechanically as far as like right now I'm doing this value on this stuff, and later if I need brighter values, I will make brighter values on here. But for now, this is just like texture, and well, I mean, there's some lighting here, but just I'm trying to muddy it up a little so that it's not all so clean. And I'll probably, and I'll probably do some like, if I make a couple of selections here so that I can see what this levels adjustment does. You know, this is good for just like random noise, is to like shift everything a little bit lighter, darker, whatever, figure out something that's kind of close. And then you can use that for just like just texture, you know. Like I've got a little brush here that's got a little bit of grit to it or whatever, and it's not really light, it's not really shadow, it's just stuff, you know. And that way it's like, oh man, look at all that detail he put in that roof. No, he didn't. It didn't take very long at all. But that's good for stuff like that. And then, of course, you can always just merge, you know, merge that back down or keep it separate or whatever you want to do with it. I'm not quite ready for that yet, but for later. I notice when I flat colors, when I hide my inks, that pixels are, sorry, I'm gonna start the sentence all over again. I noticed that when I flat colors, that when I hide my inks, what pixels are not colored, where I have ink detail. All right, punctuation. Like subject, verb, put a period somewhere. And let me try that again. Sorry. I couldn't do it. Yeah, if there's someone that can translate that information into a thought that I can that I can comprehend, I will be happy to answer that question. Yeah, I don't remember much about grammar, but I'm pretty sure subject and verb was a requirement or close to it. I like how everyone is is trying to translate. Yeah, somebody let me know when it's close. Yeah, where let me put that comment into Chat GPT and see see what it says about it. Oh man, that would be funny. I really would if the API access is so expensive right now, but I really would like to make just make a bot and fill it with all of my color theory knowledge. And then you can just ask the bot. It saved me so many emails. Maybe that's me on Discord now. Who knows? I don't know if he ever did rewrite that, or someone's trying to figure it out. Anyway, I'll let you guys figure it out. All right, and I want to. Yeah, I want to make sure that the ceiling is separated from the walls a little bit, I think. I don't know why I feel that's important, but. And flatters, if you want to make your colorist really happy, never use the same colors on your ceilings and floors, even if it's the same stuff. Like, just don't, you don't have to worry about it. This is gonna be nice. I'm gonna like this one, if I may say so. I mean, I like them all, but I don't even know what color she's gonna be yet, but I think it's gonna be cool. Hey, I have self-confidence a little bit these days and self-esteem and stuff, so I apologize if that's really off-putting. You could have a Kurt VTuber AI. Dude, I actually have, like, I have some tech that I've got that I've been using for reference, and it has like a VTuber mode, let's say, and it is creating such fertile ground for comedy, that at some point I think I'm gonna have to. I think you guys might see that on the channel at some point soon, because it'll be like the last gasp of this channel is survival. We're jumping into the 21st century. What century are we in? Yeah, it'll be like, well, the VTuber is his last hope. Oh man, good stuff. Good stuff. Excuse me. This channel will never die. Says who? All right, we got some bullet holes. I actually got a rare opportunity the other day, and I realize in the current state of this country, some people will be off put by this, but I was able to go to a police range recently and shoot some. I shot an automatic gun. I shot an MP5, like police issue MP5. It was really fun, and I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, I was thinking about it. I saw this bullet hole here, and I was like, made me think of that story. But now we've got some friends that had access to it, and graduation party, and yeah, the kind of things you do for fun, you know. It was fun. Also, they have no business being on the street anywhere. I'm definitely the only people that even need semi-automatic weapons is if you are, I would say, there's some hogs that those are the only thing that'll take them down, that are basically armored, and they love to annihilate farmland. And so that's definitely a thing around here. But if you're not doing that, you don't need a gun that goes rat-a-tat-tat. That's my theory. Hey, Davey, how's it going? You're a tried and true liberal gun restricting law supporter, but have to admit shooting guns is fun. It is. It is. I grew up around them. I mean, I'm in South Mississippi. If you didn't know, my grandfather was a game warden. It was guns were not. It was just there. Everybody had them. You know, it was a very common thing. My grandfather died, like all the grandkids got a weapon. Like there was a lot of us. But yeah, it was, he had a collection. All right. I like our pretty blue purple background. I'm wondering, this is all very close to being, yeah, in CMYK that's a pretty big shift. That's a bigger shift than I would normally care for, but it actually kind of deepened everything in a way that I like. I am going to brighten that a skosh. Don't need that. So are you a Pelicans fan because you grew up a Hornets fan in the 90s? No, I'm a Pelicans fan just because they're an hour away. And they have Zion Williamson, supposedly, allegedly have Zion Williamson playing for them. No, that's when I really started following them again. I was never a Chris Paul fan. So as long as he was there, I was pretty much not a fan. Oh, by the way, this light that I'm putting on the floor here, you're like, where is that light source? Where's it coming from? This is just a reflection basically from that door, that doorway, I guess. You know, this place looks like it's made of metal or something, so the floor is probably a little reflective. And that's also why eventually this will have more lights up this way also, because my intention is that this light is, you know, reflecting up into here. So anyway, that was some actual coloring information in there. I don't know if you guys heard that. That was a coloring tip on the stream. Somebody timestamp it. But no, yeah, the Pelicans are close. I'm actually for the first time I'm a partial season ticket holder because I can afford the and even my partial plan is like on a payment plan, like it's on layaway. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited. Was it 12 games, I think? And it's like some kind of, they call it like the contender package. So, you know, supposedly it should be like some good games against people you want to see play. In theory. I don't really care. It doesn't really matter to me. I just enjoy going. You know, for once we actually have cylinders. I'm always making things into cylinders. Now there's cylinders to color. Whoops. I'm touching the canvas, hold shift, touch the other side of the canvas, and you get straight lines. Yeah, 32 minutes in, he said something useful about coloring. This is the same series you did the cowboy cover for. Yes. This is the IGNIS Quadrant. Yep, same one. All right, so now, for our, again, getting back to my my background pattern idea. So the background pattern up here we've kind of established. We've got blues and purples and teals, and we got a nice little focal point back there. Now at the bottom, it's almost completely filled with dudes that are dead, and so they're their own little pattern. Okay, so our pattern, we'll use some of the same colors. You know, we'll use the same color scheme. Obviously, I think we'll influence these guys with those colors. But as far as focus goes, you know, we can kind of do whatever we want with these guys, because as long as I, you know, keep them in the same, what would you call that? The same color family for at least parts of it, we can kind of do whatever, because they're all, again, they're just supporting that focal point. So tell you what, here's a trick you can do when you have a lot of things to color and it doesn't matter what color they are, is you select the whole canvas. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get all these random colors in the flats, kind of shake them up, edit them just so there's not look like this. Copy that in there, and then we'll let that influence all those guys. That way I don't have to choose a million colors. So anyway, let's select the whole canvas minus the background here. And we don't need any of that. We don't need any of this. I'm just using the magic wand, holding down Alt, which is removing from my current selection. I really just want to be left with the selection of these dudes. And that looks like them minus all of their eyes. So let's add that back in here. All right, is that everybody? Yeah. And I'm actually, since I've got that selection, I'm going to copy that to a new little layer here, and I'll call this dead guys. And that way, if we need to get the dead guys again, we have them ready to go. Did we miss a spot, or is that the ground? Nope, that's the ground. So I'm going to copy, or right there, paste this above my base colors, and I'm going to lower the opacity. Now immediately, because I already had purple under there, all of those flat colors are blending with my ambient light color. Isn't that convenient? So I'll get to these questions in just a second. But we can decide like how much of that we want to come through. You know, I don't want a lot of local color to come through. This is a cover that I really want to, you know, have a strong focal point in the middle. And so I'm not going to have a whole bunch of stuff going on that's really bright down there. Maybe 40, 50-ish% or so. Now, I don't like all these colors, but we can change them still. All right, let me catch up in the chat here. Did you ever use color ramps for background? Do you ever use color ramps for the background? What does that mean? I don't know what color ramps are. Thanks for your help. Now I can pay attention and not type and talk. So you have multiple layers of selection flats. Yes, very often I do. So these are the original flats, which are like traditional flats. Well, now we have the dead guys. And this is just, my flatter will usually just select the foreground characters, put that on a layer. This one I got the background too, but that's fine. It's just a way to very quickly select the background from the foreground, because I can control click that layer and now I've got all the foreground selected pretty much. Or I can invert that and have all the background selected very quickly. And so it's just, you know, that switch back and forth, foreground, background, I am constantly playing with the contrast on that, you know? And so it helps for me to have a selection and be able to do that very quickly. Oh, color ramps, you might mean gradients? I mean, there's gradients here. They're just painted in. I don't even know where the gradient tool is in Clip Studio. That's how often I use the gradient tool. Back in the day, I was big on the gradient tool, but I haven't done that in a while. I'm wondering if yeah, I mean, it really doesn't matter too much, does it? But yeah, I'm just going to kind of start pushing and pulling on some of the elements on these guys to make sure that, you know, there's some nice value shifts in here also. Just so, you know, that it's not too bland or boring. And he looks like he has blue hair. Sure. Oh, this looks like one of those copyrighted characters from another universe. I think if you say the name, they come after you. Why is he pink? That's why. Why are your eyes pink? When I fill her eyes with pink, it filled everybody's eyes with pink. So I'm just deleting that. All right, sorry. All right. And what is left? Not much. All right. So now we have our dead guys done. Pretty quick. Is that the floor? That is the floor. I'm gonna brighten this up a little bit. You can see that a little bit better. And all right, let's do some color. Let's get some flats on this character. So this is not, I'm guessing that's a mask. And I'm guessing this is not skin. So I'm gonna go to my flats and change that very quickly. So I don't have to worry about that again. Gradient maps? Yeah, gradient maps. I will use a gradient map every now and then, but not a lot. I mean, I like in this case, like I probably could have done this in values and put like light blue on one side and purple on the other, and that would have probably been about the same thing, you know. But anyway, I think I want to start with the hood, actually. And this should not be the same color. Again, I'm going to change my flats so that it's not the same color. Yeah, flatters, whenever you're flatting a costume that has interconnecting parts, you should never use the same colors for two different things. Especially when you're talking about costume parts, because very often those things are not the same color. Thank you for answering your question on the last stream. Oh, okay. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right, so they're ninja. So, of course, bright colors. No, let's see what I am thinking about. What we want this to be. Because we could go like earthy. Maybe we go earthy on the capes. And all of this stuff, and then choose some other sci-fi-ish option. Let's make that the same color as that. And I would say like this is a black costume. This part, let's say, is black, but I'm just going to tint it toward our ambient color because there's really no such thing as gray in the real world with any color lighting around. Something that is gray will always take on the color of the environment. I don't even know if this person is a human being. I'm assuming they might be. Let's see, is that... Okay, this is a different thing here. And there. So if we do this is that, and this is that. Or do we do that? Yeah, we do that. I think that's pretty unique looking. Well, if you don't like it, we'll make it easy to change. Finally got around to getting the collected Blue Flame and read it this weekend. Really good story. Color's not bad. Thanks a lot, Chris. I'm glad you liked it. Yeah, it's a cool story, man. I need to do more digital books. I keep buying books and just trying to find space that I don't have. Admire people who convert digital books. I've got out of print ones and comics. Those two genres I can't replace with digital. I'm probably being a snob. No, I don't think so. I've got an iPad, you know, and you know, I've got comics on there, and it's fun, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. So I don't think you're being a snob, but I don't care how you buy a book, paper, digital. But for me personally, like, I like how vibrant it is. Like, you can really see, especially with colors. Like, but you know, it's one of those things that it still feels better to me to, you know, to be on, what do you call it? Be on paper. And let me go ahead and fix that now. I was going to say I'll fix that later, but we'll fix it now. Whoops. I'll go brighter with those and make that look like special effecty at the end. So I'm going to select all the dead guys again. And actually, are they on? They're on that layer. Do I want to keep that separate or merge that down? I think, let's see, let's darken them a little bit. There we go. And now let's do all the lighting on these guys. So for the sake of ease of doing all these guys, we could either I could make just a hard light layer, which I've already got a couple. And what does that look like? That looks like that will work fine. Go a little bit more saturated maybe. Yeah, like that as a first level. Or you can do this on a levels adjustment. You could do whatever you want, but let's start here. And this is my favorite part of coloring. Because this part is, I can just turn my brain off. And the other thing this does is it helps to integrate these guys into the existing background, the existing ambient light, having all of this blue down here. Do you have any suggestions for drawing tablets not too pricey? What's good these days? Like the Huion seems to be doing some good stuff I've seen, and the reviews on those are a lot better than they used to be. They've come a long way in the last couple of years. I know that brand's pretty good. People like what's the other big brand? Yeah, I'm really not the one to ask, like as far as for like personal experience here, on the cheaper tablets, but yeah, that's what I hear. XP pen, that's the other one I couldn't think of. Yeah. How do you approach skin in different lighting areas? Do you use base skin color and then overlay with the appropriate lighting, or do you mix them? The problem with, for me personally, and it depends on, of course, it depends on if you're trying to be realistic or not. Like there's so much stuff in comics that the lighting has nothing to do with reality, or like, you know, the color or anything. It's like just because it's meant to, you know, it's meant to look a certain way. So I'll disclaimer this information with that, you know, that if you are, you know, we're talking about realistic lighting, the base color for skin tone, you know, is going to dramatically change depending on the color of the lighting. That's the part that I think it's like a part that is not really thought about a lot. In the questions that I'm getting, it's like, oh, we just use the base color of the skin. If you try that, a lot of times you're working from a much, like if it's a cool environment, let's say like this, you're working from a much cooler base than you probably are thinking, you know, because, you know, skin tends to desaturate in the presence of cool colors and tends to get warmer in the presence of warm colors because it's already a warm color, you know. So I've done it both ways. Like I've done it where I've basically started with like a skin tone and made adjustments, and then there's others that, you know, I just start with a gray blue color for the skin and go for it because that's where it's going to end up anyway, you know, as far as the quote unquote base color is, you know. A good trick for that is like Like, let's say you've got, oh, sorry, that's bright. Let's see. So this guy, let's say, is this color, and this guy is a little bit darker, and this guy is an alien. Okay, I guess. But if I take a, whoops, what is that? Oh, that's why that did that. Let's change that. Let's just say he's the Incredible Hulk. All right. That actually, for my example, it's probably fine. And we have the Hulk. Or Gamora, or whatever. And I'm going to make a new layer on top of this. And I'm going to put it in hard light mode. And then I'm going to pick a cool color. And put that over the top. So these guys are now like in a cool darkened room, let's say. So what are these colors now? So if I put a mask on this, so we're going from, you know, white people peach, according to Crayola, you know, to what? Greenish gray. But if that should have been on a mask anyway. There we go. But if I turn the lights back off, you would still go, you know, light-skinned person, dark-skinned person, the Incredible Hulk, right? But that's not what the colors are. They're all relative, okay? Our eyes are really good at reading what the relative colors are. You know, so this guy with dark skin, in this version, it's like a deep brown yellow color. Like, you know, again, very desaturated though. Look at how far the saturation moves from that orange, looking over here, that orange to there, you know. So this is what I mean. And the cool green still looks green, and it doesn't move that much because to go back to my handy dandy color wheel, these two skin tones are being pulled from here and let's say here toward this blue. And actually there should be some gray in there. Yeah. Is that on that layer? I didn't mean to do that on that layer. There. So anyway, white guy's there, dark skinned guy's there. They're being pulled toward blue. They're getting grayer, okay? You can see that that's why like these colors are showing up as yellow and green, because they're heading toward the blue, okay? The green is already over there. He's already here. He's just leaning this way a little bit. And so that's why you don't get that huge hue shift. It's already on that side of the color wheel. But over here, you're going to get a huge shift in the hue and the saturation because those warm colors are having to be pulled across all of those cool shadows. Okay? So that's kind of the issue, is if you start your lighting in a dark room with these colors, it doesn't look like a dark room. You know, let's say. So, and I keep bringing up dark rooms because those are the ones people have questions about skin tones. It's why people have questions about skin tones. They're going in every direction with the colors, being confused, except for just grayer, because that's what happens. The skin gets grayer. And so for me, I will tend to start my lighting and my rendering from this position, because I can always, you know, I can always paint out the blue if I ever want to bring some of that skin tone in, but any coloring that I'm doing over the top is just over the top, you know. If I don't have a green light and a pink light, you know, I'm doing that over the top of a base that is already established. So Makes sense? Is blue better to shadow than gray? You should never, ever, ever, ever use gray for shadows. Okay? Unless you are in a clinically, perfectly white Apple store with no other colors present. There's no sunlight, there's no moonlight, there's no color anywhere. That's the only way you're going to ever see a gray shadow. Because the shadows are always going to be influenced by some kind of color, right? Yeah. For comics, if you can use gray for shadows if you want. It's not a very interesting looking shadow, and it'll look okay, and you won't really understand why you don't like it. But tint them in some kind of direction, right? So does that mean if we want to change the skin tone, we have to shift the hue and saturation based on the relative position to the color of the light? Yes. If you're being realistic, yes. I always start my shadows with a fairly saturated color and then crank them down until it looks good. I think that's a good way to do it. Let's see if I can color and talk at the same time. Probably not. But yeah, no, that's good advice in general. Like, if you're gonna do something a color, like, crank it and then see what it looks like, and you can always turn it down. Like that's kind of my whole philosophy. I was talking about this during the membership class this weekend, but a couple of years ago, I got a chance to chat with Frank Martin. He's an amazing, one of my favorite colorists, on Twitter. And he just told me, be bolder. He's like, you're making good decisions, but just be bolder. And that's all I needed to hear. It was perfect for me at that point because I knew exactly what he meant. It's like, oh, this looks cool. I'm going to crank this to 4. No, I'm going to crank it to 12 and then dial it back. It's like, oh, that's way too much. Oh, that looks cool. It's a totally different mindset than just, let me see if I can add a little highlight. Oh, it's right here. I don't know. It seems like a lot. No, like, do this, and then be like, no, that's too much, or whatever. Maybe it's not too much. That's how it works for me. I can't claim it'll work for anybody else. Do you have a book with crazy bold colors that you like? A book that I've done, or just anybody's done? I will say my craziest book, I think, color-wise, is Yakuza Demon Killers, which is also happens to be the favorite title of anything I've ever done. You really can't beat Yakuza Demon Killers as a name. But that I've read, probably the thing that comes to mind, we talk about bold colors. I think, what was the name of that? Tokyo? Was it Tokyo Ghost? It was a Sean Gordon Murphy drawn book that Hollingsworth did. I thought that was a really bold book. Any of, like, Marta Gracia's X-Men, the last couple of years, that stuff just flies off the page. I don't know that name. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, Marta, it took me a while. Like, let me find something real quick just to show you what I mean. You know, when you're doing superhero books, you know, there's no such thing as being too bold or too in your face. I mean, that's the whole point. And so, like, this is some of his stuff. I want to pull in something else here I was looking at earlier. Yeah, this is just pure superhero goodness. It's a really small image. It's super tiny, but yeah, it's so in your face, and I'm a huge fan of his work. But even on this, the pattern he is setting in his backgrounds is the same principle. Like, if you look at all those buildings behind him, and at the bottom, they're all just basically one color. Like, it's as simplified as you can get from a color standpoint. You know, there's some bright values here and some darker ones up here, but like all of this stuff is just green. You know, all of this is just that kind of grayish, you know, beige teal color, because he knows like what's coming here. He's trying to get as far away from those colors. Let me back this up. You know, so you can think of this as if he ties his rubber band one end over here, which is about where the background is, and say that's the background. And he knows all of these colors are going to get this bright and this intense. I mean, all that stuff is just pulling that tension as hard as you possibly can. And so all of his color choices are way out here. So if that's what creates that sense of boldness, is those huge swings, you know. It doesn't matter how you make them, you know. They could be in value, it could be in hue, it could be in saturation, whatever. But yeah, like, he's just a master at that. And a lot of those books, you know, again, the costumes are really, you know, wild colors and intense and stuff, and so it's just a good it's a really good book if you're looking for bold colors and how to get them all to work together. There's a specific double page spread that I remember he did in X-Men a couple of years ago. It was like the Trial of Jean Grey, I think, if you guys read those. And he was, again, it's the X-Men, you know, all their costumes are just insane. And it was like 40 of these dudes in a room, you know, this huge sprawling like spaceship or something. There's little nooks and crannies, but there's just people standing everywhere. And those kind of pages are the ones that really impress me, because he's balancing all these insane costume colors with, you know, making sure the background environments are shifting around to like accommodate different lighting. I mean, I don't know if I would be able to find, I don't know if I'd be able to find that with a Google search real quick, but it was, who's the X-Men that, Gladiator. It had Gladiator on it. Here's not the one I'm talking about, but here's another one that to me is just full of, this is, again, I've got a tiny file here. Why did I not have it? Let me get a bigger one. Search image with Google. Is that a bigger image? Sorry, I'm trying to find... Oh, well. This will have to work. You guys can see this well enough. But, like, this is a complicated drawing. A lot of characters in it. But the action is happening here. Okay? The people that are talking, and most of the conversation is right here. And so, you know, the artist has kind of framed them up with these big characters on the right. And Marta has made sure that they're really just a big dark area, you know, to help support these other bright areas of the image, you know. Again, the background is a bunch of gray with some purple lights and some red over here in the front, you know. But by minimizing all of this orange that this character actually is, he's not distracting anymore. You know, if he had actually used the local colors on this guy, like it may have looked okay, but it would have weakened the focal point on this, because that would draw a lot of attention. That would be the only orange thing of that size on this entire, you know, page. Well, that much orange, when there's no other orange anywhere else, is going to stand out like a sore thumb. So what do? You blend it down, you know? And so he's limiting that to just a little bit of space here. And the little bit of orange is not going to make a big difference, because it's just not a lot of space. So this is... but anyway, these are some good examples of Marty Grassi. And hopefully that answers those questions. And I lost the chat at some point. All right, let's see. I'm checking. I'm going up on the chat here. How do you color red light? I find it super daunting. You have to make it red, not light red. Red. Because light red is pink. That's why it's daunting. If you're trying to put something that is like light colored and then shine a red light on it, if it's a really red light, it's just going to look red. Red is unique in that it's a mid-tone. At its most saturated, it's a mid-tone. And that is unique in the color world. Red and green, kind of to an extent, at their most saturated, are sort of midtones. And so when you're lighting with red and trying to avoid pink, which is often an issue in comics, then that's what you get. A wise man once said red is weird. I did my first coloring course, and I think I did it again in another coloring course later. But yeah, the first Photoshop course I did, I've got a lesson called Red is Weird. I forgot about that, Jason. Now, right now, you'll notice that I'm kind of coloring everything very similarly as far as like texture-wise. I'm going to come back through this in a little while, and some of the things that are sharper metal and things like that, I will touch up, and we'll make them look like they're a little bit more metal. But I'm saving that for the next pass here, because I just don't like shifting colors that often. It's easier for me to just choose one color and go than to switch back and forth between a bunch of colors. So much of my decision making is speed, efficiency based. Like, it's the one thing that, like, you don't really get in a lot of digital tutorials I've watched. It's like, yeah, that works, but can you do that 22 times an issue? Like, How am I doing on time? Hour 20. All right, that's about right. All right, so we've got all our guys. So I'm gonna do another pass through here with a color that's a lot closer to white. And right about there. And I'm gonna get my pencil instead. It's a little bit it's got a little bit of grit to it, and it's what I'm looking for here. And just anywhere that I want a little bit more indication, I'm like, oh, that, that whatever, that plane is turning there, or this thing needs to come forward a little bit. Anywhere where that sort of thing is happening is where I am scribbling at the moment. Excuse me. I struggle when I color comic pages with different panels. That would be a problem. I keep losing the focal points. Like, I know where the focal point should be when I cover color for posters, but why is it different when coloring a comic book page? You tell me. I don't think it is. Every panel has some action that you should be able to see. And if you can't see it, it should be in the script. But that's a whole other problem if you can't see it. but no, that's how you go by it. I mean, that's how I do it. Whatever the action in the script is should be your clue. That is the focus. Now, if your script has 3 things happening in a panel, you just have a bad writer. I got a script from someone that someone had hired. I won't say it's a publisher, hiring someone that doesn't traditionally work on comic books, but they're kind of a big name, and so they hire him anyway. And you get panels that are like so and so, blinked slowly at the idea. It's like, really, they blink slowly. I don't know if there's probably a better way to put that in a comic book. Or it was like, so and so opens the door and screams at the guy, and then this guy jumped off the couch and did, punched the guy in the face, and that's all one panel. It's like, no. Every writer new to comics should be paired with an artist for their first script. That's a good idea. Horizontal vertical struggle. I don't know. I know what you mean. Interiors present a challenge. I mean, it's why That's what people want to see in portfolios is, can this person color panels? And yeah, it's one of those things that, like, it takes practice, it takes time. Alrighty. Yep, the whole point with let me give you a quick little tangent lesson here real quick from a very skilled interior artist. Where is my sorry, bear with me a second. Sorry. Again, bear with me one moment, please. Why is this not showing up anywhere? There we go. All right. Let's see. Volume 1. Number 1. Find a page I can show on YouTube. Nope, nope, nope. I'm gonna bring a couple pages in here. Oh, I missed this book so much. Let's see. I'm trying to find like a multi. Yeah, can I show? Yeah, they're dressed enough. All right. So I just want you to point out a couple of things. So the person was talking about focal points. One of the things that the artists are trying to do is create the idea of sort of a flow and over the page. And so an artist that is experienced and good at this will very often literally have the action in the panel move in those directions. So it's like we've got this building here that is going this way. We're slamming the papers down from, we're going across panel 1 to 2. The papers are getting slammed down in this direction toward panel 3. She's looking sort of this way in the panel. She's not looking, or basically straight at us, basically. But that's taking us down here, and we're introduced to all these characters, and it comes to a stop where she's standing. You look at this page here. Both of these characters facing panel 2. Both of these characters now facing panel 3. Everybody in this panel looking at the center to see these people here. Nice big V-shaped panel basically pointed straight down to here. She's leaving the panel this way. He's having a conversation which pulls you to here. Here they are. He's framing it up. Like, when you're looking at a page, that maybe it'll help to try to find those little indications. And very often with beginner artists, it might be tough. It takes people a little while to figure this stuff out. So hopefully that helps with your focus problem. And you're coloring yourself, so there. It's your fault regardless. Oh man. All right. The technique is also used in cinema when there's a cut. The subject of the previous frame is often located in the same place. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right. On top of these lines, I'm going to put some special effecty type stuff in here. Do some glows. Just a soft airbrush. Wow. What is the wow? I missed a wow. All is well. Rebecca Isaacs, the artist on that, is an absolute master at this, at page flow and all that kind of stuff. So if that's what we're wowing about, that might be it. But or maybe you guys really like glowy stuff. I don't know. I'm kind of I'm pumping up some of the. There's a little bit of lines here in the inks that are not quite coming through, so I'm kind of embellishing that a little bit. It's just on top of the lines. I want to make sure that's showing up here and looking dangerous. Are those projectiles producing the glow effect going to produce a highlight glow effect? I don't know about a highlight on her. Are they just reflecting the lights on the ceiling? I don't know. I don't really know. Are they plasma or metal? I don't know. He said it could go either way. That's really the only question I had about this one was what are these? He said they can be. He said they could be. What do you call it? Blades, literal blades. He said, or they could be. You know, some kind of energy or something. You know. Alrighty, and all right, let's start on the character here, and I think I'm going to. I think this is maybe like a character introduction, this issue, and so I'm thinking we do like a sort of a soft, not really soft, but like an ambient light for the local colors on the character. I think I want the local colors to come out kind of from the front, and maybe we'll pull in some of that blue from behind a little bit too. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a couple of quick ugly selections just so I can again see what I'm doing here. And I'm gonna make a levels adjustment that is brighter, quite a bit brighter, to about right there. And then we can also cool this off, or we can warm it up. Do we want to go cooler or warmer? I think because there's so much cool in this cover, we're going to go warm. And that looks about right. So now on this levels adjustment that I just made, we're going to do some rendering. And let me get closer to. And it's been a while since I've done anything with the lasso, but I think it is what this needs. And so, or doesn't need, I think it's what'll look good. All right, and right here. And I missed a spot right there. And there, and there. Sorry. There we go. All right. So again, I'm on this levels adjustment. I want a mask on the levels adjustment, technically. And we're going to start filling this in. Going really light pressure first, and then right where I want there to be a little bit more light, I'm going to just push down a little bit more. And so I can get some of these, even within my selections, I'm able to control the light a little bit. And if I don't like something like this, I can just hit the letter C and bring it out. The letter C switches to transparency. And if I don't like some cut I made, I can blend it. So you have options. And I'm not putting quite as much light out here because I really want the majority of that to be here around the face. And if I keep going, I can stay on that same level adjustment and it's still going to brighten and warm whatever I'm rendering. So this is a very fast way to render something when you want your colors to be close to like local colors. And if anybody says anything about this Ninja having glowing lights on them, I'm gonna fight you. No, I'm kidding. It just looks cool. If you don't like them, we'll delete them. I thought about that playing Cyberpunk plenty of times when I am like out there in like my hot pink, you know, hot pants and you know, jacket that has like LEDs lining the collar, making my face glow. I'm like, I don't know if a sneaky person would really be. I don't know if that would really work. Don't think it would. And this material again is it's obviously a different texture. It's got a little bit shinier, slicker look. So I'm doing, you know, I'm sticking with different shapes and I'm trying to match that. Tron vibes. If she has any lights, it'd be on the weapons and maybe the mask. Yeah, I mean, her weapons are glowing, so, you know, I guess it doesn't really matter if she has little LEDs on her suit. Sometimes you gotta do it for the drip. Exactly. Exactly. You guys and your logic. Don't want to hear all that logic. Alright, so let's see. I'm going to draw this as if her arm is not throwing a shadow, and then we'll add the shadow. So we've got sort of, I might just paint this because... So I'm just gonna paint this in real quick. And then what we'll do, where her arm is, we can always tone this down. And if it's a little too chunky looking, we can blur it a little bit. Then I'm just going to switch to the letter C and back to transparency and just paint our shadow over the top. Oh, I'm on the blender brush. That's why that's not working. There we go. Lovely. Lovely, lovely. Questions, comments, concerns? Everybody good? And you'll notice as I get further down, I'm really just not doing as much detail. I'm doing less and less kind of the further down I go, because the character as we get to the bottom of the page is not as important as what's going on at the top. And so I'm not going to do a lot of high contrast stuff in a place where, you know, it doesn't need it. And here's another cool trick. So that that levels adjustment that all that lighting is on right there, there's absolutely no reason why, if you wanted to, you couldn't use this as another light source here over what's already there. And because it's a levels adjustment, it's again, it's influencing everything that's happening here, even your other light sources, you know. And so it's a nice way to, you know, get some pretty complex lighting without having to think too much, which is my favorite. And I'm not really doing a whole lot with this. I just wanted to point out that you could, if you were so inclined. I'm also going to double this layer now. It's going to really intensify everything. I don't necessarily want everything intensified though. So what I'm going to do is delete that mask and put a new mask on it. Okay. And now here's a really nice trick for you. If I control click the mask, I'm going to get on the other layer, I'm going to get a selection of all of the highlights that I did on that layer. Okay. Everybody with me so far? That's what it looks like. So I can now use that as a selection on this levels adjustment layer. And what that's going to do is it's going to keep my lighting within that's already there, but I can still brighten it in, you know, in places. Like I want to make this cape a little brighter through here. I want to brighten this up a little bit through here. It's sticking to the original lines, like, so I can really make a lot of very quick, subtle changes without having to, you know, again, like do a whole lot of stuff. And I'm not doing it everywhere. I'm just sort of hitting it here and there. But you can see that it's also shifting the hue. It's also shifting the hue a little bit toward yellow, because the original levels adjustment had a little warmth in it. And so that warmth is kind of multiplying, I guess you could say. And that allows the hue to very subtly shift in there. Makes sense, right? Your new computer's arriving today, Jason? Oh, awesome. Trying to try out the M1. Which one did you get? Did you get the Mac Pro or a MacBook, or what did you get? Never thought to render with a levels adjustment. Genius. I don't know if it's genius. It's just easy. All right. So now I like the way this looks. I'm cool with a lot of this. But I think what I want to do is I want to introduce a little bit of the blue sort of strategically on the character, and that will sort of integrate them into the environment a little bit better, because on this cover I think I want a little bit of that. So again, we can do this on a layer we already have, or another layer, or whatever. Since it's a different light, I'm going to do it on a new layer because that way I can easily change it. So we'll get a nice cool light. And then all of the, not all, but I'm thinking about just all the places that are not being hit with that direct light. And it's going to be influenced by the color of the environment, which is cool. Unless the light is bouncing off itself, and then it actually warms. And through here, this is definitely bouncing off itself. So we don't want that to be cool. All right, back to cool. I'm also thinking about the light from that door back there would be very blue. Can throw some of that around. You would see quite a bit of that up here because of just the angle. And maybe along this side that's turning away from us. That would also be a little cooler across here. I don't know what this thing is exactly. But it's not getting a lot of light in any case. All right. Did you create that wash brush? No, I did not. It's part of a... You can Google that brush name and CSP brush and you'll find it. Somebody, Gumroad. But yeah, MacBook Pro 14-inch. That'd be awesome. Do you have a separate monitor for that, or is it all just on the... or what kind of tablet do you have, I guess? I can't remember. Did you adjust the setting for the wash brush? I bought it, but it doesn't look as good when I use it. I can't help you with that one. Tell you what, I'm noticing in the inks that little halo around the character. And I'm not going to trace the whole thing out because I don't think it's necessary. But on the side facing the door, I think I like it. So I'm actually on top of the lines a little bit here. Just because it's easier. Oh, a separate monitor too. Okay, awesome. Yeah, that would be great, man. That is a beast of a processor. All right, and glows. Let's do some little glows. So I'm going to start with a little bit bigger glow around the outside, around the outside, around the outside, and white in the middle to make it look like it's actually glowing. It's the white in the middle that is I see forgotten sometimes in glows, and it looks weird. Boy, does it look weird. I wonder if this will look cool. I'm gonna try it and see. I don't know if he intended for that to glow. But again, if you don't like it, then... Oh, I'm painting over the white. I just did, didn't I? Let's try underneath. Come on. I mean, if your weapons are going to glow, does it really matter if you have glowing stuff on your chest as the ninja? Maybe that is just enough to throw a little yellow or pink light right there. I like the little glowy things. All right. Yeah, I really like how this is coming out. So I think I'm going to look at this in Photoshop and see what it looks like, make sure it looks okay, and do a couple of tweaks and it might be ready to go. All right, let's do that. Silly question. When do you decide to color over the lines? Silly answer. When I need to cover the black with something. Usually it's like a glow effect, or it's a, you know, or something. There's some kind of special effect, you know. All right, let me pull this in here. Yeah, I do think I'm going to tone down the one on the chest. I think that one is probably a little overkill. Where is my brush? I hate brushes in Photoshop. They don't ever do what I want them to do. Lately, they have not. All right. RGB, CMYK, RGB, CMYK. So there's your difference between Clip Studio and Photoshop. Clip Studio, CMYK, Photoshop, CMYK. That is why we look at it in Photoshop. So I'm going to, why aren't you moving? I'm going to compensate for that loss of contrast by making a curves adjustment. It is under the inks, but above everything else. And is it this one? It pulls in, yeah. So this is going to darken a little bit, but we can't get too dark. It's very easy to get too dark when we're talking about these purples. I'm actually going to open up another window of this for my main monitor because it is properly calibrated right now, and my other one is, I don't think it is. It's close. When I installed a new video card, and it's a little bit different. But anyway, what that does, that brings our darkness back. I still have the CMYK preview on, and I'm gonna create a point and get us a little bit brighter in here on the bright side. And let's keep that in the middle. I don't want that going up. I don't want to brighten midtones. Kind of playing around here a little bit. That looks pretty sweet. Oh, you have to put the preview on in each window. Well, that makes sense. I'm going to save this. I'm going back to clip. Back to clip. Our curves adjustment should still work. And it is. It's subtle, but it's working. And I'm going to select all of the background. And I want to try something. It doesn't need to be, sorry, I lost my flats. Their reference doesn't need to be this thing. I want to stay dark and purple. And I'm pushing this behind the character a little bit toward blue, using an overlay layer for that. Because, yeah, I just don't like those how those dark purples come out in print a lot. It is really pushing your luck in my in my experience trying to stick with dark purples. And so I'm being a little extra cautious here. Probably. And also I wanted to warm up the you can really see the difference in some of the pinks that don't print you know, very well, but I'm gonna just warm this a little bit with orange, I think. Why aren't you working? It just doesn't want to saturate that anymore, that's for sure. I think this one might be done. I'm going to save this one more time. We're going to look in Photoshop one more time. Didn't I just click that? Oh, it's open. It's open on my other monitor. That makes sense. So did it update? Yes, it did. That's interesting. So I saved it in clip and it updated in Photoshop in real time. I didn't know that would happen. Oh, I didn't do that. Whoops. I need to fix that real quick. And is that... Nope. Bear with me a moment. What brush is that? Why aren't you coloring? All right. I'm going to... Give me 1 second here. I got too many layers in this thing. Why don't you like me? There it is. What else is on that layer? Oh, I'm not in clip. I'm trying to do clip shortcuts. They're not working. Oh, excellent. That was just me screwing around earlier. Awesome. But yeah, let's see. All right. I'm sorry. I'm going to do a color in 8-bit or 16. It's whatever's easiest. It's 8, I think. What type of brush do you use for coloring fabrics? I used the same brush for all of this. It was all the same. Just a watercolory brush. When I paint in clip or Photoshop, the airbrush or gradients creates banding, and I can't see that you don't have this problem. I try to paint it all manually, like as much as possible. Gradients are notoriously bad about creating banding issues. And so that's one of the reasons why I don't really care for them. But even if I'm doing something that I need to be a gradient, I'll usually just paint it with a soft airbrush, you know. You might be using too much pressure. Yeah, a lot of what I'm doing with that brush, Jason, is very light. Like, that brush reacts... Oh, I'm in Photoshop right now. Let me save this. Let me show you what I mean. Wrong brush. Is that it? Yeah. All right. So this is that same brush, Jason. If I do this, you know, you can barely see it. Or I can do this and it's really intense, you know. And so there's a whole, you know, range of pressure. And it might be a situation where, like, your old tablet or the, I don't know, the tablet you've got should be able to do that. But it's just a lot of pressure variation. What brush is that Dave Stewart tool preset? Oh, the one in Photoshop? Hold on 1 second. Canvas size. Make sure it's at least big enough you can see. I think it's just, if I remember right, I haven't used it in years, but I think it's just a scratchy brush that kind of looks like some stuff I've seen in his work. That's the only reason I named it that. I was like, oh, I like it. It's kind of scratchy. But I don't think pressure sensitivity has been working in my Photoshop for a while. I don't think it's working. It doesn't feel like it's working. That's why I hardly ever painted it. Well, among other things, but what do I feel like this thing needs? I think it needs... I just want to try something. I reserve the right to change my mind. Yeah. That's what we needed. Just something to echo all that pink. That looks so better. I like it. And it also prevents that wall from being the same color as all those other surfaces, which are all facing different directions. So it helps with the depth in it too, I think. But yeah, when you only have, there's so little of this pink color in there that it's kind of like, you know, when my cat has blue eyes, really bright blue, baby blue eyes. And if I wear a shirt that color, you know, its eyes like seem to be neon. And so adding a little bit of pink around that sort of helps to bring out that pink that's in there. What is your brush density set to? 100? The opacity is 100. The brush density is 100. The hardness is low. Wonder what difference it makes if it's high. I've like, oh, that's not the right brush. Not the right brush at all. Sorry, Jason. What were you asking? Brush density is 90 on that brush. But yeah, you can screenshot that. That's the brush. I don't think I changed anything. I don't think. Anyway, I think I like how this turned out. So, thank you all for watching. I'm sure I can find plenty of other little details to add to this for a couple more hours. But I think I kind of like where it is. So, check the comments, not the comments. Well, check the comments. There's probably not any comments. Check the description. If you want to learn from me step by step, not just rambling in one of these things, then I have some courses which are, I think, are very cool, and people seem to like them. And you'll learn a lot. They're in the description. Sign up for Patreon if you haven't, or become a YouTube member. There's lots of ways to support these shenanigans. And I do this every Wednesday. All right. I don't see any other questions. Thank you all for watching. I really, really appreciate it. We'll see you next time.